Hi, this is Katie Bradford. This is CES 2014, and I am sitting in a fancy lounge area put together by Samsung Mobile so I could take a look at the new Samsung tablets. These are the Galaxy Tab Pros and the Galaxy Note Pro. So here's a lovely stack of them. Isn't this a beautiful tablet? And so basically, I'm just going to go over, do a little hands-on, just go over some of the highlights of these tablets. And we've got all the information about the tablets and the deep specs and everything on liliputing.com. All right, so let's start with this one. This is the Galaxy Tab Pro 8. It has an 8.4-inch screen, so it's a little bit bigger than the Galaxy Tab 8-inch and also a little bit bigger than the Galaxy Note 8. And all of them have pretty much the same UX, and this is called Magazine UX. And so it's a little different from what you're used to seeing with TouchWiz, in that everything is arranged into these attractive blocks that are kind of like widgets. And this is totally customizable. So if you just tap on one of the widgets, you can either resize it or you can go to the edit pages, and then there's the widgets are pre-populated. So there's a music widget and video and story album and weather, and then you can just add them to the pages and mess around and whatever. So this is completely customizable, but it gives you this sort of nice layout, which is good for tablets because it's not all about just one icon taking up space. These are dynamic, rich widget-like things, but you can still just get to a regular screen that just has icons on it if that's what you want, and then of course you can get to all apps just by tapping that. One thing to mention is that like the other Galaxy Tabs now, this has physical home button and then the back, and this brings up Task Manager, recent apps, etc. And so I like this because physical buttons, even though Android doesn't think we need physical buttons anymore, we still need physical buttons. So it's an 8.4-inch screen. This has a quad-core processor inside, and the resolution on this is... We don't know the resolution on this, but that's all right. But actually, no, this is a really high resolution display, and the colors are all nice and rich, and so it's actually just a really nice display. And this is going to be great for reading if you're doing magazine reading and stuff like that, because because it has such a high resolution, you're going to be able to see even little tiny text is very crisp. So I like that about this one. So let's move on to the next one, which is the 10-inch version. And again, we have, the same UX on this. Oh, and this is the weather app. So here we go. All right, so we have the same UX. And again, you'll be able to put all sorts of different things in these little widget blocks. So frequently used apps, if you really want to go back to having this. Another thing to show you, and this is for all of them, but the sliding over from the side, this gives you the multi-window app selection. It's kind of reminiscent of Windows, the way that just happens. So then you just drag it out here. All right, we've got our browser going on. And then let's say we want our contacts over here in this other window. And there we go. So on the 10-inch one, you get the two windows side by side, and this is just like the Galaxy Note 10.1 that we've seen. And and as you add apps, whatever apps work with multi-window, they're just going to automatically go in here, and then of course it's pre-populated with them. And again, this is a really high resolution display. This is 10.1 inches. It's a really light tablet. Basically, it reminds me a lot of the Galaxy Note 10.1. It feels the same, except for this just doesn't have a pen. So again, all the deep specs and details on this are going to be on liliputing.com, but I will tell you that inside of here is an octa-core processor. So that's two quad-core processors in the big, small. There's a big one and a small one, and so it's going to be able to do a lot more tasks in the background without using up a lot of battery life, which is really good. All right, so now we move on to the big boy here, and this is the Galaxy Tab Pro 12.2-inch version. And the main thing that's different here about the UI is that with multi-window, you are no longer limited to just 2 apps in the multi-window. You can get 4. So let's see, bring music down here, and my files over here. And so you get 4 windows, and this is only on the 12-inch version because you have more screen real estate, and actually having 4 apps up here, you can still see what's going on in each of them. It wouldn't be so great in the 10-inch or the 8-inch versions. Another thing we like about this is that you can resize all the windows at once to highlight which one you want to look at. And then if you just, whatever one is selected, if you just tap this center thing here, you can switch it around, or you can just close them one at a time. And so really like that, that management that Samsung has with this, taking it a little step further because you do have the bigger display to work with, which is really nice. And as you notice, like everything came up really snappy. This also has the octa-core processor in it. This has 2 gigabytes of RAM. And again, this UX actually looks really good on this size screen too. And this is where you really start to see why it's good to have it, because you have all this space. So you want like nice, rich information to come up. And then if you swipe some of the different ones, you can scroll through other information. It's similar to the My Magazine. This is called the Magazine UX, but it's similar to My Magazine, which was introduced with the Galaxy Note 3 and the 10.1. And this, even though it's a 12-inch tablet, it actually doesn't feel very heavy. It doesn't feel very awkward. But this is the kind of tablet that's going to, come up in an office environment rather than carrying it around. So it's okay if it's like a little unwieldy to carry, because the whole point of it is not to like cart it all around. It's supposed to stay. One other thing I want to show you is this keyboard. Now this is the small version of the keyboard, but if we can switch to normal, floating, or split. I want to show you the normal keyboard because Samsung particularly pointed this out to us. This keyboard, even though it's a mobile keyboard, works more like a physical keyboard. So you have, your arrow buttons here. This caps lock button actually functions like a caps lock button instead of a shift button. You hold down Control and you can do Control A. Any of the control functions you can do in Windows, you can do here, and it will work. And it gives you some haptic feedback, and it's nice and big. Like, it's basically good for a tablet this size. It really suits this size because it utilizes the area really well. And so when you're typing on this, you may not be able to type, with your fingers over here. I mean, you could split it and you could do that, but it's really going to be great for just propping up and just typing like this. And love the number row in particular. All right, the last one that we've got going on here. This is the Galaxy Note Pro. And so this is the same size as the one that we just saw. This is 12.2, and it's basically the same tablet on the inside. Octa-core processor. It has 3 gigabytes of RAM though. 32 gigabyte SSD inside, or 64. And it has a pen because it's a Note. This pen is about the same size as the pen that comes with the Galaxy 10.1, the Galaxy Note. And it has all the same functionality. You see Air Command came up just when I pulled it out. Action Memo is in here, so if I press this button and double tap, we're going to get Action Memo. But then, again, it has the same Magazine UX on top, and so you're going to be able to do all the same things that you could do with the Tab Pro, except for you also had the added functionality of the pen. Handwriting recognition is really good on this, etc. So all of these tablets share something in common, which is the UX. They all have the same general design, which is this design that we saw on the Galaxy Notes. So it has on the back like the sort of matte plastic and the stitching, the faux stitching. All those things like make for some really good looking tablets. None of them are too heavy. None of them are really awkward to use. And overall, they're really nice. And when it comes to professional use, they have some other software things that you'll see when you look at the announcement post. But basically, they're being aimed at not just consumers, but they're being aimed at people who want to use them in a professional setting. So looking forward to giving these like a more in-depth look after CES, getting them in for review. But overall, I would say that they actually look like pretty good tablets, and I'd be interested in seeing more. So I'm KT Bradford. Those were the Galaxy Pro tablets, and this is CES 2014.